Barcelona have beaten Girona 1-0 away from home in a very, very difficult stadium, but at what cost? Dembele has been injured. I'll be talking about that later on in this video. Now, we played today with a lineup that consisted of Ter Stegen in goal, Alonso, Eric Garcia, Araujo and Koundé as the back four, Busquets, Frankie and Gavi as the midfield three, and Dembele, Ansu Fati and Rafinha as the front three. Now, our lineup today really kind of resulted in the performance that we put. 8 shots in the whole match, 15 fouls to Girona's 10. As usual, possession dominated, but pretty much no chances created. Ansu as a number 9, once again not working. No shots taken by any of our midfielders, and just a very boring, dragged out performance from the club. Now, it still means that we're first in La Liga, and it puts us 3 points or lead over Real Madrid, who themselves have a very difficult game tomorrow against Real Sociedad. And we won our last game 1-0 against Real Sociedad, and we once again continuing that streak that we've had against games like Getafe, where we've beaten our team 1-0. And this is a game where we would have 100% lost, or at least drawn last season, because this is the kind of team that we were last season, this season, because of the difference makers we have, and because of a Pedri that is just scoring goals, which we've not seen from him as much. It's a completely different Barcelona, and this is the difference between us this season and last season. I don't think Xavi's philosophy has changed. The way he wants to play football has pretty much remained the same throughout his career, but this season, because of having players like Lewandowski, having Pedri in the form that he's in, and having a really good back four generally, not today, it's resulted in us sneaking through and getting the win. That was very clear today. Now, the next 3 games that we have are against Betis, Sevilla, and Villarreal. Betis, as we know, as we saw in the Supercopa, really, really difficult team. Sevilla are always a difficult team. We saw that last season especially, where we had to sneak through and get a 1-0 win, which I'm suspecting will happen this time as well. And then we have Villarreal, who are under Kike Setien, a completely different team. So much energy, so much passing, and it'll be a really good challenge because similar to Sociedad, who are very possession-based, Villarreal also very possession-based. So I think how these two styles really play against each other will be interesting to see. Now, in terms of my player ratings for today, Ter Stegen deserves an 8. Absolutely superb performance as ever. Made 2 really important saves late on in the match, and I think as usual he's the one that's saving Barcelona. And although we've seen a Ter Stegen in recent years that has not been up to that level, him being at his best means that we're having to really test him a lot as a team, because we're making so many mistakes, which eventually results in Ter Stegen being the player that has to save us once again. I think our back four was just not very good today. Alonso, I don't get why he started over Jordi Alba today, especially over Alejandro Balde as well. I think he's just... he extended his contract for 1 more year in case you guys didn't notice, but he's just not a player for this level. He is very much a player that can only play as center back, and I don't really trust him. I trust him at center back just as much as I trust Eric Garcia as center back. He offers absolutely nothing. I thought his only real good thing that he actually produces is his crossing and his attacking output, but that's clear. He doesn't have any attacking output. Our other players in our back four were also very okay today. Eric Garcia I thought was good most of the game. Really good long balls, really good passing, but once again, really conceded a really good challenge for Arnau Martinez's cross, where he just left it completely open, resulting in a free header. So he has to be really careful with that. Araujo, as usual, was solid. Koundé, I thought, had good attacking output today, especially considering Rafinha. His attacking output was very limited. Our midfield 3 was very average. Gavi and Frankie were not good today. Gavi in that Pedri position has looked good in the past. Today, but that was not the case. Busquets was just okay today. I don't think he did anything particularly wrong. He wasn't that bad in transitions, but he was having a very, very typical game when it comes to playing against teams of Girona's level. Now, our front 3 of Dembele, Ansu Fati, and Rafinha, we have to talk about Dembele. Dembele has suffered an injury. It is looking like a muscular injury. It's not looking too serious, but it's at least, I'm assuming, 2 or 3 weeks out for him. And honestly, it's unfortunate because he was 14 months without injury. His last injury was in November 2021, where we had that period where Koeman and our interim manager Sergi Barjuan, it was that kind of period where we were really struggling, and that was when Dembele was slowly recovering back, and now it's looked like he suffered yet another injury. It's not looking good, but we just have to move on. And with all the options that we're having with players like Varane and Lewandowski also having to come back soon, we could potentially be okay even without him. Now, Ansu Fati is just not looking like himself once again. In the center forward position, he struggled. And Rafinha was really the only player where I thought we had something. He created chances. He went to his deep pockets. He made a few good long balls. And I'm not saying Rafinha played well, because he clearly didn't. But he was the only player that actually tried to do something and make a difference. And of course had his usual defensive output as well. Now in terms of the popular opinion online, the main one was from Neil and Raphael. Neil said, "An exhale, another narrow victory, but as long as they keep coming, I will take it. Tough conditions, some key rotations, a small compact pitch, not the easiest way day, but still gotta be doing better. Can't wait to have Lewandowski back." And I think this is what is really important, because in a game where we missed Varane, where we missed Lewandowski, where Ansu was having to play as a center forward, where we had to rest Pedri for a certain portion of the game, it was a good performance. It was a performance where we very limited the threat of Girona while also playing well, and this is exactly what we have to do. In games like this, where we know it's going to be difficult, we have to have those players that are the game changers. And we had Pedri today, and this is what will have to happen. Last season, we were in a similar position where we played similar football, but we didn't have those players that can make the changes. And this season we do, and we're actually utilizing them by playing in the right place and actually making sure they make the difference. Now, Raphael said something also that's pretty interesting. Not worried about Xavi's pragmatism, especially considering we were fantastic versus Real Madrid recently, but there's a big element of risk to this plan. And I completely agree with him. There is a lot of risk with this plan. I think if it wasn't for the two terrible finishes by Girona's forwards, they could have easily been 2-1 up, and that would, pose a completely different challenge for Barcelona. So we're kind of taking into advantage the kind of opponent we're playing, but at the same time, we can only face and we can only beat what is in front of us, and that's exactly what we're doing, and that's exactly what we should continue doing as well to succeed and hopefully win La Liga. Now, overall, what I would take out of this game is it wasn't a great game. It wasn't a great day. It wasn't a great game as well. Dembele injured is the only real negative today. I thought the performance itself obviously wasn't great, but we got the win, which is very important for a side like this one. And hopefully, if Dembele's injury isn't that bad, we could continue our form and continue our winning run in La Liga. And hope to see you next time against Real Betis. And as always, Visca el Barça.